Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see, I got Matt's GTR here behind me. Last time we saw Matt's car, we were pulling the wipers off, getting the glass out, and getting that all ready to go in my car. Now his car's fully stripped, subframe's out and is a bare shell. We've been working on it a little bit in the background, coming up with a plan and working out exactly what we want to do as we start his restoration on the body. But to start off, we're going to jump straight in, get all the seam sealer out of the engine bay, and start stitch welding the body. As you can see, just removed all the seam sealer from Matt's bay, doing a lot more work prepping his than we did to mine. We are going to seam weld as much as we can in the engine bay, the wheel arches, the chassis, and in the rear as well. Just really trying to stiffen Matt's car up as much as possible. Like I mentioned in a previous video, Matt drives his cars really hard. This thing will see some track time, see some mountain time. This is going to be a really fun car. Just trying to stiffen it up. If you're not aware, the chassis are so weak from factory. The more research you do, you'll see that. We've watched some GTR race car videos where how they strengthen the chassis, and we've taken some tips and tricks from that without making gussets and putting them in the car. But just in the process of going through and stiffening Matt's car up, tidying it all up, getting it ready to go to paint. Doing a bit more work on Matt's car today. Just gone and picked up some dry ice from a very nice gentleman with a lot of motorsport experience, so shout out to him. It was good having a chat to him, but obviously we've got a bit distracted as we do. But dry ice in on the sound deadening, and we're about to lay it all through the car. We're going to remove all this. So as I've been welding the wheel arches and I'm ready to sort of start welding under the car now, we need to get the sound deadening out, because obviously when I stitch weld the floor, it'll melt and sort of start to drip through. So that's going to be in the way. It's got to come out anyway. So that is what we're in the process of doing. All in this big journey of a good update.
The goal with this car, really, and I think Adam will agree, is to make the best GTR in probably Australia. I'm not going to say we will, but we will. If I was going to describe Adam's car, it's more of like a 7.5 at the club, but you know when you're really drunk and it's 2 AM and you want to go home and you just got to choose one, and she looks like a 10. And you get her home and she parties like a 10, you know what I mean? She does all the stuff, but it's just not quite a 10. But it's okay, because you don't marry a 10. 10s are crazy. That's what this car's going to be. It's going to be a crazy 10. Sell that marketplace.
Come up clean, comes up easy. As you've seen, we've been busy on Matt's car. Got majority of the sound deadening out for now. As you can see, we've sort of cleaned up all the inside. As you know, we've sort of stitch welded the front half of the car. Now in the process, I'm about to stitch weld the inside of the car. Really just trying to make this thing as rigid as possible. Like I've mentioned, Matt probably will race it, wants to drive it and drive it quite hard. So now the inside's all sort of cleaned up. We'll go through and I'm going to stitch weld all the inside. You can see the penetration where it's come through from underneath. That's the chassis rail there that goes the whole way under the car, where I've welded the floor pan up over the tunnel with the braces underneath. So we're going to do the same on the inside, weld all the inner sills together to the floor pan, the seat brace or the seat rails, they're all going to get stitch welded in as well, all the mounting plates. Heaven forbid this thing's ever in an accident, obviously it's going to be rigid as hell. We don't want the seat mounts to come out. They're going to be sort of welded in, just trying to make this thing sort of as safe and as rigid as possible. Can't emphasize that enough. So up over the tunnel, floor pan to firewall, firewall to pillar, all the insides of the pillar on both sides, and then we're going to go up over the wheel arches as well. So a lot of welding, but getting there. Heaps of progress on this car, obviously still lots to do, but I'm super excited we're getting there. Heaps still to do, so we'll get back in and keep welding, see how much we can get done. Alright, still going, plenty of progress. So engine bay on this side, on both sides. So engine bay is fully stitch welded both sides, and obviously as you've seen we've gone down underneath now. This side's sort of all been cleaned up. Matt's flattened off all the welds. This is just sort of a white primer to help seal it until we get to the point where we're ready to sort of paint strip and clean up the whole body, ready for primer. But flattened off all the welds. All underneath is obviously going to get seam sealed, Raptor front to back, all going to be color coded white. But this has sort of been cleaned up. This side still needs to be done. I just shaved and cut off the studs, welded them up, smoothed them off. Matt's new radiator setup doesn't use them. It bolts through the back of the headlight panel, so that's pretty cool. Just welded up a few more holes on the inside, so the inside now is fully stitch welded. You can see the penetration coming through the floor like I mentioned before, but basically welding every overlap back together, and then up around the pillar. We've done the inside of the pillar across the top as well, and the harness bar bracket across. So obviously tying all the front suspension structural stuff, tying it all together, everything that's going to move. So basically rear cradle whole way forward, all the inners welded to the floor to the seat rails, and so on and so on. And then obviously the rear wheel arches from this side to the floor brace, etc., all the way through. So welded top to back, front to back, top to bottom, and then obviously in the boot, floor to the rail to the wheel arch to the floor, etc., etc., all around. So after we finished welding, after we've been welding any raw metal, we've just been putting some like rust converter just to keep it all sealed. That's why it looks real black. So obviously now the inside's all welded. Obviously still got a bit of cleaning up to do, a bit of sound deadening still to remove, but it's pretty much there. Obviously we'll have to prep it a bit more and sand it for paint. Next plan will probably be to get this thing on a dolly. So we'll probably get it off the hoist, get it on a body dolly so we can move it. I want to get the doors off. We've got new hinges, new catches. They're all going to go on so they shut really nicely. They do anyway, but driver side's got a little bit of sag, but we'll tidy them right up so the doors close nicely like my car. And then while it's off on a dolly, we're going to put all the extra spot welds around the door opening, around the window openings, front and rear, just to make this thing as rigid as possible like we said before. So definitely getting there, making some progress. So yeah, next step, we'll get this thing on a dolly and reset all the door hinges. Alright, so got Matt's car off the hoist and on dollies. So we've just rolled it round into the panel shop. Just about to set the doors off. So doors are going to come off. Got some brand new hinges and strikers. So we're going to get these all realigned and set back up so they open nicely and close nicely, just like my car. But while the doors are off, and obviously we've got to sand up the pillars on both sides, we're going to use the opportunity now to go around and spot weld all the openings, door openings, window opens, etc. So I've got the spot welder here, ready to go. We're gonna jump straight in and get it done. All done with the spot welding now. Big job. Obviously the arm's quite heavy, but that's okay. As you can see, got an extra spot weld in between, a couple of doubles in between where required, just where there's a bigger gap between spot welds and stuff like that. We've gone the whole way around, done the whole car, obviously across the top of the windscreen, around the other side. So now full stitch weld inside, underneath, and then spot weld all the apertures, all done. So looks quite cool, but unfortunately once it's painted, it all goes back together. No one will know. That's all right, it'll stiffen it up. Even just knocking on the roof, knocking on the quarters, like, it just sounds so much more solid, less tinny than what it did before. But yes, all done now. So we'll move on, we'll reset, take these door hinges off. Basically, plan being, new hinge, sand the back of the hinge, etch prime all that, take them off on the car, etch prime the pillar. Then that'll be ready for the new hinge to go on. Both the mating surfaces will have primer. When I take these off, these will be bare metal on the back. But new hinges, so we'll etch prime the back of both of them, and then we'll bolt these back to the door and then put the door back on the car as a whole. Then we know it's in the right position, we can line the door up. Let it settle, let it sag, as the hinges will. Realign the doors, and then these will stay on the car. We'll take the doors back off and the hinges will stay on the car for paint. So we'll clean the hinges up and we'll get these on. Doors are all on. They will sit now for a week or so as the hinges will sort of settle. They will sag a little bit. We know they're going to do that. So then the doors will come back off. This is pretty much it for all the bodywork now. Now the welding's done, a few little dents and stuff to nip up, but the next step, obviously the vehicle will get paint stripped, it goes into epoxy, and we start prepping everything for paint. That'll all be in another video. That is the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed the update. Hopefully we've done some cool stuff that you haven't seen before. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.